Hello, welcome back to Borscht 3D. I am Kurt, and today is going to be another vlog. So this is vlog number 2. So for those of you who are not familiar with this channel, first of all, welcome to the channel. I'm Kurt Borscht, I'm a maker. I make stuff from 3D printing, 3D modeling to woodworking and anything else which can be made by hand. All of my projects can be found on my YouTube channel, which is that one right there behind me, and you can also find all the detailed write-up project on borscht3d.net, along with any link for social media which you can follow. So summer has been quite wild, I have to admit. I find it a bit difficult to get work done in summer because summer is usually the most hectic season of the year for me, because I have scout camping, which is a week long. Usually there's like a vacation, and this year there was the new expansion of my favorite game, World of Warcraft. So I spent about a week playing it and did nothing else. So yeah, weeks rolled by, and I know that I haven't been uploading videos, but as I said, I would rather do them well than rushed and having bad quality. So, you know, quality over quantity, always. Today I would like to talk about a very particular event, something which I never knew that I needed to attend, but once I did I was so glad. And I'm talking about Maker Central. Maker Central is an event for makers, and basically it is a convention or a fair where you can learn a lot about the different tools, you can learn about their application, but most importantly where you get to meet other makers so that they can share their knowledge and experience with you. The first Maker Central was held in Birmingham earlier this year, in May of 2018. And I have to admit, it was the first event of the kind that I attended, and I was a bit nervous to go. So let me start the story from the beginning. First of all, I do not dislike traveling, but I dislike traveling on my own. I like company while I'm traveling. It's not that I am scared of planes or anything. I'm completely confident with taking a plane, but something feels wrong when I travel alone, and I would much rather travel with someone else. However, for Maker Central, it was one of those opportunities where I could only go if I went alone, because there was no one of my friends who was interested in coming along with me, and my girlfriend at the time couldn't make it because of exams. So I spent a long time debating and sort of trying to reason with myself on why I should go, and then coming up with reasons about why I shouldn't go. So about a month before the actual Maker Central earlier this year, I was over at my girlfriend's and she was studying. I was probably playing World of Warcraft on the computer or something, but she asked me whether I was going to Maker Central, and at the time I was in the no phase. I wasn't going there, and mostly because I felt that I wouldn't cope on my own, but other reasons included sort of the whole traveling thing. And sort of she insisted and kept asking a bit, and when she realized why I wasn't going, she said, you know, that's ridiculous, you should definitely go. So in about half an hour, she found me plane tickets, she found me a hotel to stay in, she found me all the different information I needed to know about Birmingham, and in a matter of an hour, I had booked the flight, I booked everything, and I was going to Maker Central. Now, having everything sort of settled might be reassuring for some people, but for me it was it had a bit of an opposite effect. Now it felt like I had to go because I had everything prepared, and I was a bit nervous, I have to admit. One of the reasons why I was going was not only to learn from other people, was one huge reason, but you have to keep in mind that back then at the time I wasn't quite sure what Maker Central would be. So I was mostly going to try and meet these famous YouTube makers. We're talking about people like Bob Claggett, like Peter Brown, like James Bruton from X Robots, and all these wonderful people whom I follow on YouTube almost religiously, and I really look up to these people and I learn a lot from them and from their videos. So it was, you know, I just wanted an opportunity to just go out there, perhaps shake their hands, maybe take a photo with them if they would be up to it, and say thank you. Most of all, thank you for all the work, all the stuff that they do, and you know how much they inspire me, stuff like that. So yeah, so weeks rolled by, and eventually I went to Birmingham, and I immediately spent most of my time alone. I wandered around, I went for a lot of walks. It's a nice place, and I enjoyed where I was staying. And I was staying close to the airport because the NEC, the place where Maker Central was happening, was close by. It was like a 10-minute walk through this huge complex, so it wasn't a problem for me. So there was this lake close by, and I was sitting around it. I have a travel journal for, to keep notes of my experiences while I travel, and I was filling it out, and there is some chatter going on about Maker Central, so I started getting excited. And I remember going to bed on between Friday and Saturday, because Maker Central was Saturday and Sunday. I remember going to bed on Friday really excited, really hyped. I could barely sleep because I was so excited that tomorrow I would be going to meet all these incredible people. So we get in Maker Central, and the first thing that I see is this huge Batmobile. Now, as a kid, I was a huge fan of Batman, especially the animated series, and I still have figures and comics from not too distant a past. But I was amazed, and I started sort of walking around, and there were all these different stalls with a lot of people selling either tools or books or handcrafted items. There were some workshops going on, and it was very interesting. I spent all day sort of going around these stores, and there were also two stages. One of them, the main stage, was reserved for mostly YouTubers who were talking about their experiences, but there were also some demonstrations like lathe work and woodworking and casting and stuff like that. And there was also another stage which was much more focused on the actual demonstrations. So the first thing that I do when I'm in Maker Central, I head to the back. So I said, you know what, I'll go start from the back, work my way forwards. That way if I see people entering, and that perhaps I've seen them online, or maybe I've chatted with them in the past, like other makers from these groups. I said, I'll go and say hi. So I went to the back, and the first person that I see is James Bruton from X Robots, and I stopped by his stand, and he had all these different robots there, and he had a 3D printer going on at the moment. I said, yeah, you know what, I'll go say hi. And I approached his stand, I introduced myself, I say, hi, I'm Kurt, I'm a huge fan of yours, nice to meet you. And we ended up having a really good chat on 3D printers, on my work that I'm doing at the moment, on my interests as a 3D printing enthusiast, and as well as, we discussed how James actually got into 3D printing, and it was such a lot of fun. And he gave me stickers as well, but James Bruton was the first actual YouTube maker that I met in person. So I met him, I took a short clip, and I made the point that at the time that instead of photos, I'm going to take a short clip and sort of then put it together in a collage, and sort of as an homage to these people, to sort of thank them for it. I met Jimmy DiResta, incredibly great guy, so down to earth. He was giving out stencils with the DiResta logo, the DiResta sign, and he was spraying it on people's trousers if they asked him, and on their backpacks. It was crazy. He's such a great person. One thing about Jimmy DiResta that really struck me was when I was holding the phone to record ourselves, to take the short clip, and he said, hi, I'm Jimmy, and I make stuff. And he turned to me and said, what do you do? What do you like to make? And sort of caught me a bit off guard, because I wasn't prepared to talk about myself with the Jimmy DiResta. So yeah, we ended up spending 2 or 3 minutes talking about my work and how it ties into this YouTube hobby, this YouTube making that I do. So it was really nice. It was such a great experience. Obviously, I met so many great people. I met Chris from Get Hands Dirty, Joe Pikerchima. I met Minnie from the Minimalist Maker. I met Laura Kampf, Matt Cremona, so many great people. And I met even more afterwards, but I wasn't recording at the time, but there are so many great people. So yeah, one in particular, of course, and pardon my fan moment, if you will, it was when I spotted Bob Claggett. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that I mention him a lot, and that is because he's one of my all-time favorite YouTube makers. He does incredible videos, has great ideas, and most of all, what I learned from him was not the way to do things, but rather that I could do things, and that is the message that I try sort of to convey to the people watching my project. So I met Bob Claggett, and he was with his wife, Ginny. They're such nice people. They're so sweet. They, they took a clip with me, and Bob signed his book, which actually I have over here. It's called Making Time, and he signed it. Said thanks, make awesome stuff, and it's great times. So anyway, we chatted for a bit, and then I was off. Saturday had come to an end, and I went to eat, and that was the end of it. So Sunday I go back to Maker Central for the second day. Now, I met most of the makers that I wanted to meet, so I felt like I shouldn't sort of approach them if I see them again, sort of to give them their space. I mean, I've had my chance at talking to them, so I think others deserved that. So I went to get coffee Sunday before I went into Maker Central, and I was in line for the coffee, and I was behind this woman in front of me, and at one point she turned to me and said, yeah, we're going to be waiting here for quite some time to get the coffee. And I said, yeah, it looks like it. I mean, there were so many people. It was like, I think there were about 30 or 35 people waiting to order. And I introduced myself. I said, hi, I'm Kurt, I try to be a maker. And she introduced herself. Her name was Hannah, and she was really nice, and she was also a maker. And after sort of a brief introduction, we were sort of discussing our backgrounds, like what I do for a living and what she does. And it made me realize that being a maker, it doesn't have a particular background. Some people think that you need to come from a maker family, or to have your father be a carpenter or a blacksmith or something, but it really isn't that. Becoming a maker is really something that you just wake up one morning and do because you can do it, because it's feasible, because it's what you like to do. So while I'm here, I would like to thank Hannah. Thank you very much, because that day she skipped me. She managed to skip all the queue to get into Maker Central, and because she had some friends at the front of the line, and so I got in with them, and it was quite funny for us. So a few hours into Sunday, I had seen what I wanted to see, but I was waiting for some panels to start. Particularly, I wanted to see the Evan and Caitlin panel, the panel with Bob Claggett and James Bruton from X Robots, as well as any interesting panel. There was an interesting panel by Alex Steele, incredibly. I don't know whether that was Saturday or Sunday, but whatever. So I'm waiting behind the seated area of the main stage, and I noticed Bob a few paces away, and sort of nodded good morning at him. And I didn't want, sort of, as I said, I didn't want to go bother these people. I didn't want to be annoying them. So I stood there for a bit, and then suddenly his wife sort of, she recognized me and came over. Sort of, we started chatting, we started discussing about Bob's channel and how life is in America versus life in Malta, and how different we are, but there are sort of certain similarities there, and it was so nice. So then it was time for the Laura Kampf and Matt Cremona panel. So Jeannie said, you know what, I'm going to go there and watch the panel. Would you like to come? And yeah, sure, why not? I mean, so we went and watched the whole panel, and then there was the Evan and Caitlin one later on in the day, after lunch, and we watched that as well. It was really nice, because then there was Bob, and there were his fans, and we were talking about his process and what we do and what makes us, wake up one morning and make stuff. And it was really a lot of fun. I met so many friends, and yeah, but despite everything, the day was coming to a close, obviously, and I didn't feel like just saying bye to these people and go on my merry way back home, because I knew that living in Malta, I don't get a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of different makers. So I sort of wanted to, you know, spend a bit more time with them. So I went over to Bob and told him, you know, first of all, thank you very much for all that you do and for being so nice to me. And I mean, I was really, I really appreciated it. And I told him, you know, if you would like, maybe tonight or tomorrow, if you want, maybe we can meet up, you know, for over a couple of beers, and maybe we can talk a bit more about this. And he said, you know what, they were going to leave the next day, but he said, there's this hotel we're staying in, and a lot of people seem to hang out there in the lobby. Said, you know what, you should come. Said, okay, I'll be there at about 8 or whatever it was. And I entered the hotel, and the first person I meet is Laura Kampf, and she recognized me from the day before. I said, hey, what are you doing here? And I told her, you know, Bob said that a lot of people hang out here, and that, you know, maybe I should be here as well. I said, yeah, sure, come on this way, we're going to the lobby. And she took me to the lobby, and suddenly, you know, here's my expectation. I was expecting a lot of different sort of fans sort of meeting up and discussing Maker Central, maybe, you know, chatting and stuff. What happened was that I was suddenly sitting in a circle with all these famous YouTubers, and there was everyone. Jesse Ueda, Jimmy DiResta, there was Mike Montgomery, there was Bob Claggett, obviously. There were so many different talented YouTubers, and I just sat there at one point not knowing what to say, what to do, because I was flabbergasted, I was dumbstruck. And so yeah, and then so we were sitting in a circle, we were discussing, you know, some projects or something, and you know, they were sharing funny stories about what happens where they live, and it was a lot of fun. And then suddenly they said, you know what, let's go and have dinner. I said, you know what, okay, so I've intruded enough on these people, I should stay here now. I take a step back, I've met these people, I've had my time, so you know, that's it for this experience. I was already super grateful for their invitation, but I didn't want to overstep my bounds. So I went to the bar to order a drink, and I noticed next to me there are these two women, and I recognized one of them immediately because there was a panel earlier, and she was Ashley Harwood, talented and brilliant woodturner. And with her there was Anne. You should follow them, you should follow these two people, and they have amazing talent, and they're incredible, they're just incredible, and they're so nice. And so yeah, I was there at the bar, and I noticed them, and you know, they said, hi, are you here with the other people? And they, you know, started explaining the story, and you know, it was a bit funny to tell them that I was suddenly there because Bob said, you know, maybe you should hang out here, and I suddenly felt like I was a fish out of water, and that was a bit funny as well. And then after a drink, they said, let's go join the other ones. And I said, I already had dinner, so thank you very much. They said, hey, you know, let's come anyway, and you should come anyway, and let's just go hang out where the others are. So I went there, and I was sitting on a table with these huge YouTubers, these really talented makers, and I met so many people. I made friends. I met Ellen from Crafts with Ellen, and I met again Minnie from the Minimalist Maker. And at one point they were passing around this tablet. Laura Kampf was doing a live stream, and I'm there in the back, sort of with a beer in my hand, like, hey, I'm here. And it was incredible. Now, I know that I was fanboying at the time, and I was freaking out a bit, and that looking back, I sort of cringe at it, but for me it was more than just meeting these people. It was more than meeting my idols, and it still is one of the best experiences I've had in my life, because for the very first time, I was with people that I didn't know. They were complete strangers to me. But I felt like I belonged. Because our interests, they were common. And the common interest between us. And we were discussing about how we would do things. And how, they were sharing stories. And it was such a great time. So yeah, that happened. Maker Central for me was a great thing. It was about meeting the people, meeting the makers, and learning that when it comes down to it, we're all human with the same interests in that regard. And now I look back, and it is one of my fondest memories, Maker Central that is, and that is why you should go as well. To meet other makers, to make new friends, and most importantly, if you're not a maker yet, there's even more reason for you to go. Because once I came back from Birmingham, I felt like I was a completely different person. I was motivated, I came to work on my making skills, I want to develop further, and I think I'm pushing the boundaries of my comfort zone thanks to that experience, because I feel like I belong in this community. And so should you. If you're an aspiring maker, if you're a veteran maker, if you're thinking about starting to make stuff, just go in your workshop, go in your garage, go wherever you have space, in your room, on the kitchen table. Get a few of the things you need and just start working, start doing it. Because at the end of the day, everyone's a maker. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time, hopefully with a project video.